This is Ralph Simon with another edition of Future Talks with futurists Glenn Hiemstra and Gerd Leonard. And today we're going to talk about the future of user-generated content. What's your view on UGC, user-generated content?
Well, it's a huge, huge growth area. Nothing has changed the world. Well, that's an exaggeration. Not much has changed the world more than the blogs. I mean, it's been astonishing to watch what's happened with the desire of so many people to say so much. Who knew? And now with YouTube, we see it in the media visual world as well. I'm constantly astonished at the amount of time that people apparently have and the desire to put something out there to be seen or heard.
Just how widespread is UGC?
Well, I think we have to differentiate. I said there's two different things happening here. One is what I call truly user-generated content, which is a lot of blogs are, and other ones are really user-generated context. You know, to some degree regurgitating what's already there, you know, and using stuff that somebody else has made or linking to it. What's called splogs, you know, spam blogs in the blogging world. Splogs. Yeah, they automatically suck off content and make a new one to place ads, right? This is the equivalent of spam, and there's a lot of that happening, right? So the user-generated idea is to a large degree is mixed up in all different levels, all the way from copying and splogging to linking to commenting and then creating really truly original content, right? So there's all these shades are happening on the web. And what's happening right now is that I think that the drive of, for example, in the blogging business or in people sharing videos and stuff is essentially creating a bit of a first wave where anything goes. You know, people put up stuff about how they're laughing in front of TV and put that up. And they think that's funny, but only 34 people would ever watch it, right? So it's sort of like, it's an early wave of experimentation. Ultimately, I think that what we're seeing is, as in blogs, for example, about 75% of bloggers pretty quickly drop blogging because they realize it's actually a bit of work. You know, it's not like you can just write because you can go to Typepad or Blogger, you know. So what Typepad and Blogger and WordPress and everybody else is doing is they're creating self-publishing tools. Right? It's no longer just about typing and putting it up. It's self-publishing music, self-publishing media, self-publishing films. And so this whole thing is merging into a multimedia experience. Clearly, Six Apart, which is one of the biggest blogging companies in the world, owns Typepad and LiveJournal and Vox. They launched Vox.com, which is a multimedia experience. You can put up any film, pretty much, any sort of music, and you can stream it to the world.
So are you saying then that user-generated content is effectively the lubricant of social networks?
Well, to a large degree it is. And its sustainability, I think, is an interesting question, as Gerd was just raising. Is it one that 5 years from now we'll find that most people kind of got tired of it? Now, maybe the new tools will be continually spectacular enough that there's a new wave and then a wave after that. But my guess is that there will be a certain percentage, and it might be a pretty significant percentage, and that would mean millions of people, who find it continually interesting, potentially even at least a little bit financially lucrative, because they can produce such quality, because they want to devote so much time, that we'll see a continual growth. But we'll see a lot of stuff fall back. But the social networks, which are another aspect of it, I mean, everybody wants to fill up their social network with material, and then people learn about this or that video or this or that blog through the social networks, and that's what sort of drives all the traffic. And that doesn't show any signs of abating to me.
Can you think of any pertinent examples of user-generated content that has really exploded into the mass?
Well, I think, again, we're really early. I think the best examples here really are the blogs for the time being, because they have become their own, right. You know, and right now, I mean, everybody who launches something new wishes to be covered by blogs. Right? Yeah. I mean, that is the hottest thing, right? All the PR agencies are like, oh, you know, I don't know about Business Week or so. We'll get those guys anyway.
Let's go to Technorati.
We need these guys to cover us, you know. So I think the biggest difference in some of these aspects is that, for example, in television, television existed because, you know, I thought I was great and I put a show on television and then you can watch it and you can agree that I'm great, but it's not going to be your stuff on TV ever, right? Now it's the other way around. I publish stuff, that I think is great, and then everybody else can do the same, and everybody else can sort of try to get to a TV type position, right? They can be watched, they can express themselves. And I think that itself has tremendous value to people doing it. It does not, however, mean that everything they do actually has the same value than what used to be professionally produced in the same way. It's a different layer, right? Just like blogging, blogging is intensely personal. And you have to take it for what it's worth. It's not objectively researched, or most of it isn't. It's just one opinion. So I read the Wall Street Journal, I read Financial Times, and I read the blogs, and that together gives me the coverage I want.
Now, there's a story going around Hollywood at the moment that seeking out new talent, the new filmmakers, the best way that Hollywood is actually seeking out perhaps the next Steven Spielberg is to look at user-generated content on YouTube. Is this an example of what you're talking about, the widening influence and impact of UGC?
Yeah, and I think that's, I'm sure that's a good idea, because it's amazing, a lot of stuff, actually it's amazing when you look at YouTube and you think, who would have thought to put that up, and why would anybody go look at it? Then you do discover only 12 people have looked at it. But
do you think it justifies the $1.65 billion that Google paid for it now?
Yeah, I think so.
Easily.
I think so, because the desire to put stuff up, the desire to become visual, the net is going to become more and more visual, and in fact, talent is going to emerge. I mean, we all know of young people ourselves who are creative types, and there's nothing harder in the creative world than to get discovered. And if you've got a tool that at least gives you a shot at more